Okay, so the next little job we have to do is we have to remove the motor so we can service it. And the way we do that is very simple. So we're gonna just zoom in here a little bit, and you can see right here, here, and here, there are three C-clips, a little washer underneath. So we just have to remove those, and the whole motor will be able to drop down from underneath. You may have to wiggle it around a little bit. The little shafts are they're held in there with a rubber, sort of a rubber bushing. You just need to wiggle it. It should come up pretty easily. And then if you just take a look down underneath, what you'll see in here, and you may have seen it in an earlier video when we had the thing upside down, there are some the wire connections here. They're just push-in connectors, so you just pull them out, and that's it. There's two of these push connectors and one ground wire, and that's it, and it'll come right out from there. All right, now that we've got the motor out, we're going to basically take this thing apart, very, very simple, so that we can access the bearings and give them a quick lubrication, probably a little cleaning in the lower bearing, which you'll see here in a second. And it's really, really simple. So to basically to take this motor apart, extremely simple. Two screws, two Phillips screws here at the top. Take them off. Don't lose that little contact here. That's for your ground wire. Just make sure that goes back on where it is, but it's super easy. So we're going to pop that apart, and then we'll have a look. So now the motor's apart. You can see in the lower bearing there, generally looks pretty good. You got some old, black oil in there. Not a lot of lubrication left in there, so it's not totally dry, which is great, but we're going to clean that out. So I'm just going to take a little bit of, actually I just use a little bit of, you can use anything you want pretty well, alcohol or something like that. I just take a little bit of a can of carburetor cleaner or brake cleaner or something like that, just to blast it out, and then just going to take my air hose and just dry it out from there. You can use just some compressed air or something, or you can just take a Q-tip and do it. Just make sure if it's totally clean. That's why I spray it. Because if you use a Q-tip, there is a chance you might get some cotton in there, which is not going to help if you don't get it out. So that's how I choose to do it. Then over here is the lower part of the shaft, so you can see on here there's some old, again, some old gunk in there. We're going to clean that. We're going to clean that shaft up nice and shiny, and before we put it back together. And you don't need to take, just for the record on this, you don't need to take any of this off. You don't need to get that out. There's no real the bearing per se at the top. All you need to do is just drop one or two drops of oil in there, nothing more than that, and you're good to go. You don't need to dismantle that one. There's really very little pressure on this particular bearing at the top, so you don't need to worry about that one. It's the bottom one that's sort of taking all the strain, so we're going to make sure we do a good job with this one. So I will go and do that, and we'll be back in a sec. Okay, everything's all cleaned up, so I've taken this out, given it a good cleaning, so you can see it's nice and clean in there. No more black stuff. The shaft is clean right down to nice shiny metal. No indications. Those are reflections you're seeing in there, so it's nice and shiny. There's no indication of wear on that shaft, which is great. So we're just gonna lubricate this again and put it back together, and it should be dead silent when it runs. I already know this motor runs because I've tried it, so no issue with that, and it was actually pretty good already, so it's going to be great when we do that. So again, what I'm using is this one for my motor oil, and that's what it's for. So I find this stuff is really good. Not the red stuff, not the stuff in the red, this specific one for motor oil. So if you're out there buying this up, make sure you look carefully at the label. The other one is not good for this. That's more like a WD-40 for freeing things up and that sort of thing. This one here is the one. So again, when we're going to do this, what we're going to do is just, you know, not a lot, just a couple of drops in there. 1, 2. Let me have a look in there. You know what, I'm going to do one more just because I cleaned it real well. And that should be all you require for this. You don't need any more than that. Then you're ready for reassembly. And again, when you're once you put it in, you can get one in there. Be extremely careful not to get it on the drive mechanism here, because if you do, your toast is not going to work after that. It's just going to slip. If you do get it on there by accident, again, you can clean it off with alcohol or something like that. Just make sure it's super clean. Do not get it on the idler wheel, or you're going to have a real problem. So there you go. And I am going to get this thing back together. Just in case you're wondering, I've twisted it and stuff here. There's really only one way for this to go back together, and there's only 2 screws. So if you kind of twist it or forget it, just it'll only go back one way. All right, so here you have it. I have everything back together, cleaned up, reassembled. Everything's been lubricated. Might need to give her a final little wipe down before I'm done. You can see the platter, everything's nice and clean. Just got this running, everything is running smoothly. So here is, I'm trying to get this if I possibly can. You'll see your stroboscope down there. I've got, I'm on 33 RPM right now. And you can see that other than me moving around here, we've got the speed dialed in perfectly. Everything's running great, and we're good. I'll decide a little bit later on the condition of that idler wheel. Right now it seems pretty good. You know, after I play it through and a few times and check it out, I'll see. I may just go ahead and order a new one anyway. But basically everything right now is working exactly as it should be. I can't show you the auto return at the moment because I don't have a cartridge on here. So, well, actually, let me try something here. So I am, yeah, okay, I'm free. So I'm going to just pretend I've got one here, and you'll see it is going. Oh, it's not in the right spot at the moment. So I'm just gonna go back there, and it will settle back down. It's because I was doing it, so we're going to try this again. So if I were starting this up right now, it would come up, lift up. Oh, something's not right there. Maybe do it. I'm going to have to check that out from below. Might need an adjustment there. It looks like it's looking for a smaller record. I may have moved something out of place there. I'll have a look at it and see, or it could just be a fluke, but I'll check that out. Alrighty. Okay, at the last, I cut off there last, we had a problem with this turntable that I didn't expect, which was the tone arm was not working properly. It was going to the wrong size setting. Basically, it was going to a 7-inch setting, irrespective of what we were setting it on, and that didn't make any sense to me because it wasn't a normal, something normal that we should see. It wasn't a normal adjustment. So when I investigated it, what I discovered was there was actually some physical damage to the turntable, and maybe that's why I ended up with this one. Somebody somebody passed it on who couldn't figure out what the heck the problem was, and I'll do my best here to show it to you just in case you ever run into this. There's some metal plates in here that are all perform some sort of a function with the movement of the tone arm. Apologize for my finger there. And what you can see is if you look sort of way in here, there's some pieces there. It's really hard to see on the video, but they push against each other, and there's some little clips and so on that it pushes against. Anyways, this one right in here, on the one that's sort of on the top, was actually bent. It was bent upward, and so therefore it was stuck. It was on top of the little mechanism that it's supposed to push, instead of being adjacent to it. And as a result, it wouldn't work. So it took me a little while fooling around to figure that out. But that's basically what it is. How I figured that out is by looking at this mechanism right here. This is supposed to move like super free like that, and that's what's connected to this long arm that goes all the way over here, and ultimately connects to this device right here. And this is this is what determines the position for your record based on what size it is. So right now it's on 45 setting. I know it's all the way out. When it's on 33 for a 12-inch record, it changes positions. Let me show you here. So you turn that, and then this thing is able to go in further. I can't do it manually, but it would go into to this slot, to this further in setting right there, and that's what was causing that problem. So that was an unexpected problem. Hadn't run into that one before. Again, it looks like physical damage. I don't think there was any damage itself to the tone arm or anything like that. So everything right now works properly, and I'll flip this thing back over and let you have a look. Okay, and here is the finished product. So everything's working now. I fixed that tone arm problem. I've dropped this thing into the plinth. This is actually a plinth from a 0100C that I've refinished. Looks really nice, much nicer, real solid wood plinth, much nicer than some of the plastic ones that came with these models. So I'm using that one. Anyways, just going to demonstrate that the arm is working as it should now. So we'll fire that one up. I've got a cartridge on there now, so it'll it's weighted properly and it'll play through. And you can see it drops where it should for a 12-inch record. And we're just going to drag it over here, and it'll come right back where it belongs, like so. And off. And there you go. Everything is done. So that should hopefully help you if you want to tackle one of these things. I hope you do get a chance. If you do, I encourage you to try it out. It's pretty easy and a pretty rewarding project. Other than that, hope the videos help. Thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.